Greetings guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. I hope that you were well, and I hope that you were fighting, because there's a lot to be fighting for. Now, before we get into it, if you hear screaming, it is the wind. It is so loud today. Oh my god. It has not shut up for hours. This is the problem with living on the 10th floor, right on the Thames. It's just a wind tunnel, and sometimes it's so ridiculously loud and it can last for weeks, and sleep is impaired. As much as it may look like it by my bare face and cup of coffee, it is not morning. It is 5 p.m. I just have a caffeine problem. Moving past that and ignoring the wind. Oh my good god. Today's video is something that I've been wanting to do for a really long time, and I'm finally now getting around to it, and that is talking about vegans. That's really the video. That's what this is. Back in January, I made 2 videos on that vegan teacher. They did really well. They're 2 of my best performing videos on this channel, and I really like those videos. I really liked talking about it. I really liked what I said. I think I said some important things. But recently I've been thinking about it, and sometimes these things just get to me a little bit more, and I found out that that vegan teacher is still posting like 3 times a day on YouTube, which is unreal. I had no idea that that was happening. And it just bubbles over sometimes, and I just want to sit down and I just want to talk about not veganism, vegans and vegan activism, and what I like to call pick-me vegans. So to preface this, I myself have been vegan for coming up 5 years, and I was a vegetarian for 7 years before that. So I haven't eaten meat for a majority of my life. I stopped eating meat when I was 10, and I am now almost 22. And so this is something that I have a lot of experience in. I've been in a lot of vegan spaces. A lot of my friends are vegan. Kat's vegan, so I live in a vegan household. Before I moved to the UK, I lived in a vegan household because my mom and my sister both went vegan shortly after I did. So this is something that I have a lot of, thoughts about, a lot of morals. It's something I care a lot about. And there's a lot of vegans out there who give us a bad name. They give us a bad rep. And it's a real problem because, the vegans that come to mind when you think about veganism now is, mostly people like that vegan teacher, right? And it means that a lot of people have a lot of, anger and spite toward vegans, where it becomes well, you can't tell me what to do. I'm gonna go eat a steak. I'm gonna go, and it puts people off. It makes people angry and defensive, and it makes people hate vegans. And it's so frustrating. And it's this thing, right, where they know that that's what they're doing. They can see their comments, they see what's going on, and they see so many people, bully them. That vegan teacher always talks about vegan phobia and how it's a form of oppression. We will get into that shortly. And we see those reactions, and yet they continue to do it because they get validation from other vegans. And it's so... There's so much ego boosting within the vegan community and within vegan activists and vegan activism. There's a lot of things that a lot of vegans talk about, of comparing animal cruelty to human rights issues, and there's a lot of putting animals on the same level as humans and talking about speciesism. There's a lot of just angry thoughts. I, as someone who has been vegan for such a long time, understand where they're coming from. I don't disagree with where the points are coming from. I understand and I empathize, and I don't disagree, but I do completely disagree with the way that they go about it. The way that it's very guilt trippy, it's very shame-y, it's very all or nothing, and it's very you get approval from other vegans being yeah, you're right, keep doing this, speak your truth, we need to say it. While non-vegans, the people you're trying to get through to, are no, I hate you, stop doing this, and on the defense. And you see that that's the reaction. Praise from vegans, hate from non-vegans. And you would think that that would click in your brain to stop and change. You're not trying to impress vegans. You're trying to get through to non-vegans to become vegans. So by pissing them off, you're not really helping. By making vegans happy, what are you doing? They're already vegan. It doesn't make a fucking difference, does it? And I'm saying all of this coming from a position of, I was once an angry vegan. When I was younger, I was a super angry, aggressive vegan, because you are angry about it because it is something that you care so much about, and it can like get to you, and it's something that still very much upsets me, and I have a lot of strong opinions about it, but I go about it in a very different way because I have learned what works and what doesn't work. And being constantly aggressive and not listening to people and not validating people doesn't help anyone. It's the same in every argument. If you're just going in and yelling at someone and not listening and not validating their thoughts and giving actual advice and conversation, you aren't going to get anywhere. It's just two people yelling at each other because you're both defensive. And so I wanted to talk about a few things in particular. I am going to use that vegan teacher's videos as reference because I didn't realize how many she was still making, and she's the easiest person I can find. She's an easy target. Listen, there was another vegan that I was gonna include in this, but they've deleted like almost all of their videos, so it kind of ruined it a little bit for me. Now, we all know some of the classic things that vegan teacher says, right? So she has this video called All Women Should Be Vegan, and this is probably one of the most like classic style of not just that vegan teacher videos, but of just like vegan activism in general, of comparing animal welfare to human rights issues. So this one is All Women Should Be Vegan, and it is a classic trope of if you're a woman and you say you're a feminist, you cannot contribute to the dairy industry because that is contributing to the forceful insemination of female cows. It is contributing to forceful like separation of mother and child, and it's doing all these things against their consent. And they are bred on a thing called a rape rack, which is its actual name, by the way. It is called a rape rack, which is fucking horrifying. And I agree, in the terms of what happens in the dairy industry is absolutely appalling. It's disgusting. The dairy industry is the absolute worst industry. It's worse than any other agricultural industry, in my opinion. Is absolutely the worst. The way that cattle are treated is fucking disgusting. And a lot of people don't know how bad the dairy industry is. And I think that it is important to talk about and to educate people on the dairy industry and the meat industry and what happens, because it's appalling. It's absolutely appalling. And I didn't know for a long time. I was a vegetarian. I consumed dairy, and I didn't know. But anyway, the problem comes in when you compare that to human issues. And now I know that if she watches this, which she might, she's gonna call me speciesist. A lot of vegans do. When you bring this up and you say don't compare animal issues to human issues, you get called speciesist. Now, here is where the problem lies. I personally view animals and humans both as animals. That's what we are. I don't separate us as much as a lot of people do. I have always sort of just seen it as life, right? That's why I went vegetarian at such a young age. As soon as I was able to comprehend that I was eating an animal, I did not want to do that because that's not fair. That's awful. And I felt awful, so I didn't want to do that anymore. And I've always viewed it like that. I've always put us sort of on a similar level. But what you have to understand is that most people don't do that. We are brought up in a society where we do view animals differently. We do put like cats and dogs and pets on one level, and then we put farm animals and like cattle on a different level, and then obviously humans are at the top. And that's what we're taught, that's how we're raised. And there are obvious differences. We've developed empathy and like functionality and things. You have to understand that there are differences, and people do view those differences, and people are comprehending those differences based on the society that we live in and based on the information that we have and how we treat animals and blah, blah, blah. So by pushing that narrative and comparing it to human issues, you are not helping the cause, because that is you diminishing human rights issues, and that is you almost prioritizing animals over humans, which is speciesist in itself. Personally, I despise humans. I'm not a big fan of humans either, but human rights issues and equality are very, very important. Those are two very different things. My distaste for the humans as a species is very different to my distaste for like humans in general. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like humanity, but humans are equal. You know what I mean, I think. But this is flaw number one with vegan activism, is that comparing it to human issues and pushing the narrative like that is not the way to go about it. That puts people off, that makes people angry. Surely you would have learned that by now. You can teach people about the horrors of the dairy industry without comparing it to human rights. That is lacking a whole lot of empathy because we aren't cows, you know? And like implying that we are is like offensive, especially like women. Just don't do that. It's not helpful. Talk about the dairy industry without comparing women to cows. Just a thought. Please do that. Another thing that a lot of vegans push is that veganism is cheaper. And now, this is something that I bought into for a really long time. This is something that I believed for ages because, hypothetically, it can be. It is cheaper to buy, like, cans of beans and chickpeas and lentils and things over meat. Meat is ridiculously expensive. It absolutely is. If you're not buying vegan substitutes, being vegan can be cheaper. However, not time-wise, right? Like when we say things are cheaper, we don't necessarily just mean going into the shop and buying things. You're gonna buy like a big sack of beans, you have to then soak those, and so much preparation goes into that. The thing with vegan food is if you're doing it from like Whole Foods, it's gonna take a lot longer to prepare a meal. It takes way more time. Whereas people who don't have time, they go to McDonald's, they go get fast food, they buy like microwave meals, and vegan options of those things are often either not available or not as affordable. It is so much easier and cheaper to go into a supermarket and buy like, I don't know what microwave meals are, mashed potato and gravy or whatever in like a microwave packet and have that for dinner, or go to McDonald's and buy a burger, than it is to make a whole meal when you don't have the time and ability to do that. And that is something that is super duper overlooked, and we need to look at that a little bit more and take that into consideration. And then when it comes to eating disorders, oh my god, she loses me every time. It's that thing of like, having an eating disorder isn't an excuse to not be vegan. Yes, it is. And I talked about this in my last video. If you have an eating disorder, you shouldn't cut any more things out of your diet than are already out of your diet. I was vegetarian before my eating disorder, so that was something I cut out of my diet entirely for moral reasons. There was absolutely no link to weight loss or anything involved in that. Whereas a lot of people who have eating disorders will go vegan or go vegetarian for weight loss purposes. They cut groups out, not for moral reasons, even though they tell themselves that it might be. And so that then is tied into their eating disorders. You have to not go vegan while you have an eating disorder, because cutting food out while you're struggling with that, like, negatively impacts you mentally. Like, yes, it is in your head. Yes, it is a mental illness, and that is something that you have to deal with and you have to, like, get over. But you have to go through a process to get to that point. You can't just, like, blink and it's gone and will it away. You can't just cut food out of your diet when you have an eating disorder. You're also, if you do that, way more likely to not stay vegan because you will have trauma attached to veganism. If you wait until you recover or are recovered enough and get the go from your therapist, then you are more likely to be vegan for the long term. If I went vegan during my eating disorder, maybe I wouldn't be vegan now because I would have had trauma attached to it and had negative emotions and like weight loss ties to it. Whereas I went vegan entirely for moral reasons and wouldn't go back because it is a moral decision and entirely moral based with no ties. Now we get into the more fun ones. She said some things that do make me laugh. Slightly concerned, but this one's my absolute favorite. This is the best thing she's ever said in terms of like, I can't believe she said this. This one's baffled. Prepare yourselves for this one because I'm like mind blown by the fact that she said this. Basically, she's against feeding pets meat, right? Because that's unethical because you're paying someone, you're still paying for meat, you're still paying the animal industry. And I understand that. I do get that that is unethical, but the solution to that isn't to feed carnivorous pets vegan diets, it's to not have carnivorous pets. That's the solution. But anyway, you know what her solution is? This couple who is vegan say they feed their cat meat, and that vegan teacher is not happy about that. You can't be a true vegan if you're feeding your cat meat. So her solution is either to switch to a vegan cat food diet or euthanize the cats.
The only option is to find some kind of way to release these animals and let them kill the other animals themselves. Or you euthanize them for the greater good of everyone.
The vegans... I'm sorry. The vegan solution to not having vegan cats is to kill them. What? It's for the greater good because, you know, if a cat eats a bird a day, that's killing thousands of birds over its lifetime. So instead of thousands of birds dying, we can just kill one cat. There was one more solution, which was let the cat go free and hunt for its own mice and birds. That way you're not paying for someone to kill them. But I don't think you understand that in, like, a suburban area, cats aren't going to be able to get, like, birds. And also, you shouldn't be hunting for your own birds. I don't know what it's like in Canada or whatever, but in New Zealand, if your cat is, like, killing birds, they will just kill your cat. We have so many endangered and protected birds. If your cat is out after dark in specific places in New Zealand, because of all of our protected, like, nocturnal birds, your cat will get shot. They will kill your cat. So, letting your cat out to just kill birds, no, you can't. You can't do that. That's illegal. Like, you can have outside cats, but if they're killing birds, they're gonna... Then they will get put down. I understand the argument of not paying for animal products. I do get it. I do understand. Circle of life would be that they're killing their own animals, but also the animals are still dying. So your point of then, like, save thousands of birds by putting the cat down or let them kill thousands of birds themselves doesn't really make a ton of sense. Especially these two vegans you're talking to now, they pay, like, someone to, like, kill birds for them, I think. I think that's what this is. They, like, hunt birds, or they pay, like, a hunter to kill the birds for them, which is effectively the same as the cat doing it. I feel like that's way more ethical than, like, factory farmed. So her solution to cats is kill the cats.
Euthanize them.
My favorite thing that she's ever said, though, my favorite thing is this clip.
To donate your organs, to help somebody, to give them sight, to give them a new lease on life. I used to sign it all the time. And as a nurse for 25 years, I used to tell everyone, yeah, of course you should sign your card. Why wouldn't you? We need a great society that cares for one another. But then I became vegan and I realized that the vast majority of you are evil. Evil people. And I don't especially care if you keep living.
I cackled when I watched this. I screamed. I had to call Kat in here to watch it immediately because it's so funny to me. So funny. My God. But the other perspective to look at this clip, and a lot of other videos of hers and a lot of other vegan activists, again, I'm not speaking specifically directly to her. This is all stuff that is common within vegan activism. A lot of it, I think, I can tell, at least, comes from guilt, right? She's only been vegan for 5 years, I believe, which is the same amount of time I've been vegan. But she's in her, 50s, I think? She's in her 50s. So that's, like, only 10% of her life. That's, like, not a very large amount of her life. She was eating meat and animal products for, like, over 50 years. That's, once you learn what you've been consuming and you develop morals against that, there must be a lot of guilt there because you know that you have contributed to that industry, you have put your money into that, you have put that into your body. And although I haven't eaten meat, like, ever, the only meat I ever really ate was, like, chicken nuggets and, like, sausage rolls and stuff, I still sometimes feel guilty about that. Specifically, like, eating, like, roast chicken. I remember doing that as, like, a child, and every now and then I think about it and I feel really uncomfortable. Or I think about, like, how I used to just drink, like, a glass of milk, and it makes me really uncomfortable, and I really hate that I put my money there. As a child, I guess I didn't put my money in there, but I still, like, ate it and contributed to it, and I struggle with that sometimes, and I did not do that for a very long. That was a very small part of my life. So I can't imagine the amount of guilt that she must feel. And so by her then saying like, I don't care if you live. I don't care if you're not vegan. Like, you don't understand. And she's just really angry and wants people to change because it took her so long to figure it out and so long to change. She doesn't want other people to make the same mistake and to feel the guilt that she feels. And I do empathize with that. I do understand. But again, she goes about it all wrong. Like, it's not encouraging people. It's putting people off. I see vegans and vegetarians say that they want to eat animal products just to spite her because of the aggression that she speaks with and because of the way that people talk about it. It makes people uncomfortable, it makes people angry, it makes people feel attacked and get defensive. Whereas when I make videos about veganism, like my videos I did way back in January, which I recommend watching because I do talk about it a little bit more, a little bit better, I think. I had a lot of comments saying that I encouraged them to make more vegan choices, that I encourage people to go vegan. Because there is a massive mindset from vegans that is very all or nothing. It's either you are 100% vegan 100% of the time, or it's not enough. I was blocked on Twitter by this vegan a couple years back now because he was saying like only being vegan once a week is the same as only kicking a puppy once a week. And I'm like, listen, my guy, I understand where you're coming from. I really do. I get it. But if you think about it logically, that technically is still better than kicking a puppy every day. But also, if you think about it, don't look at it on an individual scale. That's the problem. You can't look at things on an individual scale because individually we don't make that big of a difference, right? It's looking at it as like a larger overall big picture of, I like to think of it as if 100% of the world was vegan 50% of the time, that is the same as 50% of the world being 100% vegan. So it's the same result. Having everyone make more vegan choices is making a difference. And that's where people don't think about it and don't recognize. So like having a plant-based Monday, like meatless Monday, it may seem like very little on an individual level, but if you think about that like on a global scale, that's a really big impact. You need to encourage small steps and making more vegan choices because anything is something. And you can't get mad at people for taking those steps. You have to encourage them and congratulate them and say that what they're doing is making a difference and that it's really good and introduce them to more vegan food. If you go out with people and you take them to vegan restaurants or you suggest vegan items and just make more vegan choices and you're making a difference. And that is something that I really strongly believe. And also I think a lot of people forget, like, when I went vegan, it didn't have a huge impact where someone who is a big carnivore animal product consumer just cuts out one day a week. They're making way more impact than when I went vegan. Before I went vegan, my diet was like 85-90% vegan. I barely consumed any animal products at all. Without even trying. That's just what my diet became. The longer I was vegetarian, the more vegan my diet became. And so me going vegan did not make a huge difference. I did not cut out very much. I wasn't contributing very much in the first place. Whereas if someone was a massive carnivore and ate meat and dairy like 2 out of 3 meals a day, if they go vegan 2 days a week, they're making more of an impact than I ever did cutting out anything from my diet. And so I think that has to be taken into consideration as well. Like, if my dad went vegan once a week, that would make a huge difference compared to my going vegan permanently. It's a case-by-case situation. And we need to encourage anything and everything. And the way that people go about this is so twisted and so wrong and so shameful and angry, and it's so frustrating. Your vegan activism shouldn't exist to get validation from other vegans. Your vegan activism should exist for the animals and to help animals. And if your activism is harming animals, you are not helping. And Katie and so many other popular vegan activists, your veganism is harming more than it is helping. If you are encouraging like thousands of people to continue to eat meat just to spite you, that is hurting the cause. Don't be so aggressive. I know that it's upsetting. I know that it's angry. I've cried about it many times. It makes me deeply, deeply upset, and it's so awful. And I hate it. But you can't be angry towards other people outwardly because it's not effective. I hope that this has been of some help. It was meant to be like fun and funny, but this is something that I'm really passionate about, and it's something I care about a lot. Veganism is a very big part of my life. It has been for a while. Like I said, I've been in a lot of vegan spaces. Make more vegan choices. When you go to McDonald's, buy the McPlant burger. It's really good. It's the first McDonald's burger I've ever had, and I really fucking liked it. It's a good burger, and it's cheap, man. I really liked it, and I highly recommend, just making more vegan choices, switching to more vegan things. Just have oat milk in your coffee, like I've had my oat milk cappuccino today. Buy a vegan burger every now and then. Just have one vegan meal a week. Try out different vegan recipes. Make more choices. Slowly make more and more. If that leads you to veganism, then incredible, amazing. If you want to educate yourself on the dairy industry and meat and how that affects the environment, how that affects everything, and the animals, I do think that is important. I think you should know where your food is coming from. Like, if you're deliberately not watching animal documentaries about it, then maybe you should. One of the motivating factors for me going vegan is that I didn't want to watch those videos. They came up on my Facebook feed sometimes, and they made me upset. I refused to watch them. I saw videos come up about dairy and about eggs, and I'm like, no, I'm not watching them, because I know if I watch them, I won't want to consume dairy and I won't want to consume eggs, but I want to keep eating them. And having that thought is what triggered, okay, if I'm going to feel guilty about what I'm eating, if I'm going to watch something and then not want to eat it, I probably shouldn't be eating it. And that's what made me go vegan, is that I didn't want to watch those videos. And I still haven't, and I won't, because they make me go through existential crises for like days. They make me really severely depressed. So I can't watch them, and that's why I went vegan. That was the final straw, was seeing a video like why you shouldn't eat eggs and being like, I'm not clicking on that. And I was like, okay, so yeah. Anyway, make vegan choices. And if you're a vegan, encourage vegan choices. Take your friends out to vegan places. Cook for them sometimes, whatever. But don't yell at people, because it's not effective. Guilt tripping is not an effective method to get through to anyone in any situation. Yeah. So I hope that this has been good. I didn't get to half the shit that I wanted to, because I get very passionate. I get very angry at vegans. Thank you for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed the video. Massive thank you to my Kiwi Fruit and Kiwi Bird channel members whose names are up on the screen right now. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining. If you would like to become a channel member, you click the top link in the description or the blue join button. You get my videos a day early, as well as 10% off my shop when I have things on my shop. And as a Kiwi Bird channel member, you sometimes get little extra videos and behind the scenes for my second channel, which is up on the screen right now. Follow me on Instagram, The Queer Kiwi, and Twitter, That Queer Kiwi. Like and subscribe. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah. When you close your eyes, you